everybody. This is Sylvia from the fiat-proof podcast. Welcome, and also welcome to Lena, my guest today. You might have listened to my podcast with her husband, Mohammed. He's an AI and robotics expert, and they're both founding members from A Place to Be. And I didn't want you just to get to know Mohammed, but also Lena, because she's a big part of it. And once you're the listeners also at A Place to Be, you will see her around, and you'll have the pleasure to meet her. We meet almost weekly. She's helping out with marketing and brainstorming because her background is in marketing, but mainly she is the mother of two boys. And today we're going to find out everything about you, Lena. Welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Nice introduction. Yes.
Thanks. Did I miss anything important?
No, that's pretty much it. As of the time being, I am a full-time mom of two boys, a 5-year-old and now a 1-year-old. And it's I'm busy with that all day. So I really can't think about having another, but I love when I get opportunities to work with adults and so to help in A Place to Be and something that I'm passionate about, it's nice to have that on the side. And as you know, like because it's like a community, so we don't have to, like 9 to 5 or anything. Like it's whenever you are free, whenever we can. If the mood is great, then yeah, we have a meeting. But yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. I mean, we're, already living this lifestyle. We kind of go our own pace and we do what we
Mhm.
want. We all four of us went to jiu-jitsu this morning. Rob and I worked out and the girls were just drawing there and playing, and now they're going to go to the pool. And
Nice.
we were just talking about the weather because you're in Saudi Arabia and it's 47 degrees Celsius, which it was hard to believe for me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So,
Yes.
I mean, once I talked to when I talked to Mohammed, your plans were like to be around 6 months here and 6 months over in
Yes.
Saudi Arabia. Is it still the plan?
Yes. The main thing is that it's hard to figure out, visas and stuff. And so the Schengen visa, you have a limited amount of time that you can stay. And at a time, I think it's like 3 months at a time, something like that. So we always thought that we would be here and there, but also because of our family. So that's what our roots are deep here. So it's very difficult to leave and, be there full time. So I think it's kind of always going to be back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what ratio is it. But yeah, that's the plan eventually.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, you said you have a big family there. How do they think about your lifestyle and like your future plans?
We haven't really gone into depth, but they know a little bit where I refused to put my son in any type of school daycare until he was 4 and a little bit. And it's like the criticism, or not the criticism, but like the comments. It's like always like, but why? Like he's at home all day with you. Like what is he gonna learn? And like all these things, and he's gonna have to be ready for school. And then they don't even know about the whole the whole unschooling thing. So it's kind of like we're just kind of taking it day by day and just. And it's actually different because my older son is actually in a school. He's in a preschool. It's a very unstructured Montessori style school. They don't even follow like the Ministry of Education. Like they have their own thing that they do, which I love. And the best, it's the best of the worst. And it's also because my kid requested this. So as an unschooler, parent that I want to unschool, it's like my kid also has a will of his own, and he always wanted to go, and so he went, and he loves it. And so we're also very flexible. We don't go like on time, and we take it easy. Some days, we chill at home, but he loves it, and it's very difficult. But I always want them to make the decision, even when it goes against what I want. But we're also doing things at our own pace overall. So it's yeah. So like the comments from the school, like, oh, he should be working on this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. We're not gonna do any of that. We're just gonna have fun and play. And yeah, one of the things that I liked about his daycare kind of preschool was that you walk in, kids are walking out of the class. It's a little bit chaotic. It's not like it's a cozy little, house style. It's not very big, and it makes it feel like a little community. But that's not my plan. And it's a limited plan for now because he has to go to school at 6 years old. So we have 1 year of like, we can do whatever we want, but then it's something we're going to have to find a way to either sign him up online for something, to have a paper to say, hey, he's in school.
Mhm.
But it's absolutely not my plan. Ever since I had my kids, I think I started realizing how everything was actually fiat. It started with formula. Formula was one of the biggest things that was pushed on me, and I never wanted to give them formula, and I breastfed them, exclusively for as long as I could. And then they were small babies, and I always got comments like, give them formula, like they'll get fatter, they'll be, like, because my kids are very lean, and so it's always, and I look into it and I'm trying to find a good formula, and it's like they're the worst ingredients
Yeah.
ever for kids. And then it's like, okay, no, I'm going to do my own thing again. And so it made me kind of hesitant, even with doctors, because they're like, he didn't reach this percentile and he didn't do this. And then it's at the end of the day, my kid is taller than any other kid in his age. So it's really doesn't matter what age they are at they're healthy, they're fine. Mother's intuition knows when there's something wrong. So yeah, I think that started it, because then I'm like, okay, now I spent all this time with my kids and I'm just gonna give them off to someone to do as they please with their own agendas. And so that was kind of my, okay, we'll homeschool. That was the beginning of it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how, we've kind of focused on schools, but it starts when they're born. It even starts before that, where, they tell you what to do, where they think they know better what you need and your children need.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like, as you say, it's like the comparison doesn't start at school and the competition. And
Hmm.
really the mothers say, so how big is his, how big was your baby when he was born, how much did it weigh, and oh, he's big for his age. Or if it's a, you never say your baby's small for his age. It's more like something that the mother usually says,
Hmm.
and then given an explanation or something. It's really
Hmm.
like deeply ingrained in our society that it's
Yep.
all about how big is your baby, how
Yep.
heavy is your baby, and how well does he eat, how well can he already speak, or can
Yep.
he do this, can he do that. There's so much competition that doesn't only just start at school, but really way before that.
There's a checklist that they have to go through. He didn't meet the weight, he didn't meet. I remember going to a doctor for my son because he had a cold. He was a baby. And so the doctor is like checking his weight. And then he's like, his skin and bones, he's so thin. And I'm like, okay, but we're talking about the cold. He's
Mhm.
not unhealthy. He's just small baby. He was always a small baby. And he's fat now. So, he's a little chubby baby now. But at the time it was, and so it's like you come for a problem to solve, and he's like, no, you're not meeting the checklist. So he immediately recommended formula, which I didn't get. But then,
And it's
but even with alternatives, so I gave my first son when I started mixing, breastfeeding, and I gave him goat's milk
Mhm.
because I just researched it. My grandfather was born, his mother died, so they gave him a goat to like feed him. And
Oh,
so I felt like that's very, closest to nature. And
yeah.
when you research it, it is the closest to nature. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But that was also like, okay, but this is not a typical formula, and like this is not approved by some association. And you always feel that fear as a mom, but it's like I have that fear anyway, so I'm just going to do what I think is the right thing to do. But yeah, fiat food
Yeah,
starts very early.
and nowadays you can almost say whatever society tells you, the opposite is the best way to go.
Yeah,
Like,
you have to question it. You have to just at least question it,
yeah,
because
you do.
they don't have your best interests at heart, unfortunately. They have the interests for the masses, and maybe
Yeah,
that's not on an individual level a good thing. So, yeah.
yeah, who gets paid, if you buy that stuff. And I'm thinking, fat doesn't necessarily mean healthy. And Mohammed, your
Mhm.
husband, he is super lean, and nobody would say you need to eat
Yeah.
more, you need to eat this, or processed food and with stuff with soy and seed oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
goes back to body types. And I think,
yeah,
people's body types are very lean, and they don't have to be like, there is an obesity epidemic, like people are more obese now than they are. And I think that's a problem, but it's never the formula. It's never the processed food. It's never that. It's like, it's not sugar. Because a lot of people like to say this to me. It's like, no, but it's not the sugar. And I'm like, it is the sugar though. Like we have way more sugar than ever before. Like people used to have it rationed, it's not like we have this unlimited access, and it's put into everything as well, including some formula. So yeah, like corn syrup.
Yeah, I see that a lot in social media lately that compare this like 50 years ago, the ingredients of
Mhm.
what people used to eat, and now the ingredients. And the ingredients back then were like two, three, four ingredients, and now it's like
Yes.
a whole long list, like four times the
Yeah.
amount of ingredients with things that we have no idea what it is that we're putting into our bodies.
And they are
And understanding
substitutes. Instead of using butter, they use vegetable fat. Instead of using, because it lasts longer, it's cheaper,
it.
and there's so
Yes.
many filler foods. Me and Mohammed were carnivores for a really long time. I think we went like 3 to 4 years, or like keto carnivore. And I was even pregnant at the time. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say when I was pregnant and eating very nutrient dense foods, great, no processed anything. It was just like a constant point, because it's like people want you to just always give in to, but it's just dessert. Like you'll have dessert, but it's like, okay, it kicks me out of ketosis and then I feel really bad and then it's not a good feeling for me. But if it makes you feel, like it's not, I'm not going to give in because it makes you feel better. So it's always, I feel that way with just in general with society. Sometimes it's like you have to just give in, but it's like, no, I don't want to give in.
Yeah.
But we can all enjoy different things and it's okay. Like it's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of division. It's like it's very, I find it sometimes very hard to come together, even though we have so many things that we do differently. Like
Mm,
I'm speaking like from my own experience, and that is also part of me who's creating this problem. That I have a certain way of eating and of
mm,
the exercise we do, and with the nature and fresh air, and I must say I'm a little bit stuck on this, very healthy lifestyle. And
mhm,
then when I meet people who do the complete opposite and have a completely different way of thinking, I don't always find it easy to just be neutral and find common ground. And what do we talk about? And it's easier if we share the same beliefs or
yes,
like opinions. But it divides a lot,
yes.
I like the idea of really just like in jujitsu, for example. And I realized this only a few weeks ago. I've been doing
Mhm,
jujitsu, like really doing it for 2 years. And what I realized was that all of us who are there are here because of jujitsu. What we have in common is jujitsu.
mhm,
And I like every single person there. There isn't one person that I don't like. And everybody has a completely different background. Like we all wear the same clothes, this the
mhm,
same outfit, but one is in school, the other one has a ton of money, the other one which you don't see because we're all wearing the same. Then the other one is might be a doctor and is always taking pills, I don't know. And another person, everybody's completely different, but we all come together, we all like each other, we all enjoy the time together, we all learning the same thing, and we are a bit of a team, even though it's not like a team sport. But that feels really good, and that is something that started opening my eyes towards it is possible to be with people and have a good time and not argue about something, because we're really just focusing on this what we all enjoy together.
mhm,
um, yeah, and this at home, where you go to the pool and everybody's there, I'm in and out of this. I'm like, yeah, these are my neighbors, they're so nice, these people. And then this is the conditioning that kicks in. Then yeah, I know that these people send their kids to school, and I know that this person, I don't know,
mhm.
hits her child or something, and that person is a vegetarian, and this person, but it shouldn't matter. We're just lying there in the sun, enjoying the pool in the sun, and that should be just it. But
Yes.
this conditioning, that's why Rob and I, we every day just keep working on this, because I think that's the only way really to free ourselves from this conditioning, to free
Yes.
ourselves from the separation that we create. Everybody, each one of us creates a separation by saying, I am, carnivore. I do jujitsu. I am so and so. It creates a separate. It shouldn't matter. Somebody's gay and somebody is single parent, and the other person.
Yeah.
Shouldn't matter at all, as long as we all can just find some common ground and treat
Mhm.
ourselves, each other respectfully. And that's what I'm also just want to kind of project onto a place to be.
Yes.
Find the people who are aware of that there is a conditioning. We all
Yeah.
have a bias, and we need to work on that so we don't create the separation and too much conflict. There will always be some sort of little conflict, which is fine. Just kind of try and work on things
Mhm.
respectfully by problem solving.
Yeah, and I think it's different because this is something about, I think, Bitcoiners. Yes, there are some, they would call toxic maximalists, but I don't think, from what I've met from Bitcoiners, I think that they're very diverse. They're very diverse. Their backgrounds are diverse. It's like the most interesting people. But like, as you said, the most common thing is that we value freedom and we have Bitcoin in common, but then it's like I have nothing in like different countries, different lifestyles. And it's like always interesting because you see that how they're practicing their way of freedom and how they're attaining that. And I always find that interesting. So I don't mind meeting diverse people, but sometimes when they're like closed-minded, it's just really difficult because it like you shouldn't be bothered by what other people are doing, like at all. I'm actually entertained when I see something different or someone tells me because it's different, like it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
piques my curiosity. Whereas if it's the same thing every day, it's like, fatigue a little bit. But it's yeah, I don't like to define myself as like something, like a Bitcoin toxic maximalist carnivore. I'm not a carnivore anymore, but you know um but it's part of who I am also. Like there is some part of me that is there. So it's like you said, there's a part that we can all share. It might be a big part or a small part, but yeah, it's very interesting. I think the Bitcoin community is one of the most diverse. Like I've it's just fun that you can go to another country, meet up with all these people, and then it's like go back to your normal life and just mix with your family and friends that are not necessarily Bitcoiners. So I think a place to be is going to be kind of like an extension of that. Like it's going to be a full everyday Bitcoin conference style.
Yes.
Yes. With
Yeah.
kids. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, maybe I can give a tiny little update for everybody. Because like I haven't really been emailing out or posting much in the last month or two. And I did kind of say, I gave a little warning and I said, I'll be focusing 100% on getting the investment,
Yes.
side of things going now. And that's what I've been doing. I haven't been sitting on my butt doing nothing or by the pool. A lot of pool time, but still working at the same time. Um, so we have decided for one of these three investment parties that had been proposed to us, and are just in the process of making it work to merging, sort of.
Hmm.
We are five families who are founding a place to be together, and now we've decided on this other group of people who are doing basically the same thing, just on a bigger scale. People who have already bought land in other countries, and um, who have again the same concept but on a bigger scale. And um, so for the people who are part of a place to be, this won't mean a huge change, because this other party, they're also completely, freedom minded and free market minded. So they ultimately, once we have built all the houses, a place to be will be a neighborhood, just a normal neighborhood. But the families who live there, well, most of them, their kids won't go to school. So imagine, we have 25 houses, and we'll have about 15 houses for families who live there long term, all year round. And the
Hmm.
other 10 houses are for families who travel. They'll come and go. and even a few will have available for friends whose kids might go to school and they just come in the summer holidays, because we do want friends and family visiting. So it's not going to be this enclosed club where nobody's allowed
Mhm.
in or out. It's yeah, as free market and as normal as you can imagine. So one thing that has changed is that the families who will live at a place to be won't pay tuition for their kids. We do offer the blocks. What we call the blocks are the rooms with things in that everybody can use: woodworking and musical room and science and library and all these things. But it's for everybody. It's not just for the kids, because I don't want this separation. If once we start the separation, that this is where you live, this is where you learn, that's not life. Life is really, you learn everywhere.
Mhm.
And then even though we don't call it a school, it is a little bit like a school. And even though we won't push any classes on anybody, there will be some sort of, the conditioning and the expectations from the parents who say, let go play with those kids or check out this area. So it's really just stuff for everybody to explore, and of course, always support there. But the people who live there won't pay tuition for this. People who already live in Madeira or rent a place here and then come spend the days there, they will pay something, some sort of tuition.
Mhm.
But I also like the idea of ditching the tuition because, again, I never wanted to create a job for myself. I didn't want to create this
Mhm.
educational center where I'm in charge, that creates expectations from other people, from the parents. I didn't want if the kids who live there at some point find some passion that they do from home or at home,
Mhm.
just focus on that for months at a time. I didn't want the parents to put any pressure on them saying, I'm paying for this, go out and go to
Yeah.
the box and learn something. So that's what I like, that we ditched the tuition. um, we will have some people there, always there for the children who they can ask a question to. But again, then a place to be won't be the company or the business that will pay for the tutors, for all the tutors. Imagine there's two families, they have kids who are into something, like, let's say, coding. So let's say two boys are into coding and a girl, then these three parents of these three kids will pay for the tutor if these three kids want to do this together. And if
Yeah.
there are another three kids who see they like this and will join in, then their parents will share the cost. Um, so this is more instead of everybody paying the same, and there might
Mhm.
be two tutors for five children because they want to learn something, and then 10 children are into 10 different things and we have to get 10 other tutors.
Mhm.
It's this free market.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I like this idea because it's free. It's
Yeah.
no expectations, no pressure. Everybody does what they want and they learn their own way. um, what else? Yeah, we still have everything we were talking about, the animal farms, and we'll grow food. And I like the idea of having maybe like weekly markets. Kids
Mhm.
can come up with things,
Something. Yeah.
sell their toys or their crafts or their food, whatever it is. Maybe even a market for outsiders where we have a market and then we let people in,
Mhm.
who are not members of a place to be, who can come and buy
Yeah.
something. So there's a lot of opportunity to learn about entrepreneurship and
Yes.
business and numbers, but of course, being creative and a lot of problem solving.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a more organic way because it's kind of like when you travel with your kids for a long time and you're just settling into a place and then they start getting bored and they figure out what they're doing for this week and then the next week they're doing something else. It's the same thing except you have that community
Yeah.
and you also have the space that you can be, you know, creative in. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people if they want to have hire tutors because then you can be like, hey kids, who wants to sign up for this? And then you have all these kids. And that's something that I have never had that experience before because it's always like all these kids are always in school. All their schools end really late in the day. By that time, I want to just have a chill evening. And it's just that separation of like the people that go to school and have those schedules and after school activities, and then just someone that doesn't want, it's very difficult to find that community. So having those kids and being like, do you want to play football? Do you want to play? It's great. And I think that you will find that there will be trends of interest,
Yeah.
and it will go through them because the older kids will be into something and then the younger kids want to be into it. And it's going to be interesting to see. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see that, how it works out. It might be completely different from what we expect. And you never know with kids
Yeah, it's true.
how flexible it is to.
I can see like my girls, they have right the last few weeks, almost a month, they're completely focused on the neighbor's girl because she's on holiday. She goes to school, but her dad's
Um,
a teacher, and I kind of get the feeling that the kids at school are enough for him. After that, he wants to hang out, at home and by the pool a bit. And he doesn't play with his daughter, which,
mm,
I don't want to judge it. It's just what it is.
yeah.
But I can see, I usually would have judged it as negatively, like before, like my old self. But I can really see how she is so independent, even though she goes to school. Like,
Mhm,
no, none of her parents ever play with her. She's got a cat, now she's got a puppy. She's always out and she's
mhm,
always looking for other kids to play with. So she's very open. And it took my girls a long time to get warm to her,
mhm,
to warm to her. But now they're, I wouldn't say best friends, but they always look out for her. And what I like is she comes to our balcony and calls Lima, Bo,
mhm.
and then it's Gracie, we're going down. And then they just take the key and they run down by themselves.
Yeah,
So they play there. They play with a puppy. Lima is such an animal whisperer. She
yeah,
picks up all like the cats that are walking around, her dog, and they jump into the pool. They
nice.
play stuff. They spend a lot of time at her place as well. And then they come to us and then they're out again and then and hers. And I like this, that my girls can now have this freedom to go out by themselves.
Yeah.
It's a place where it's enclosed and we can see them, we can always hear them if they call us. And we had some, I saw some good stuff here. This is going to be a bit long now, but I'm going to say it anyway. So because I've seen learning has happened here, that
Mhm.
I like this. Just don't try to teach your kids, just observe
Yes.
the learning. Observe what you can see, what they're learning, because they learn so much. And sometimes you can't even see it, but it's
Mhm,
happening in front of your eyes. Um, so we had this situation where Lima and Bo had let themselves influence by another girl who doesn't speak English, and she's an introvert and she's used to being with very few children. She doesn't like
mhm,
crowds. So and they love her. My daughters love her. They play really nicely with her, and we don't see her that often. So when she's here, we've observed a few times that this girl said, I don't want to play with that girl, like another friend of ours. And then it gets to the point where it gets kind of disrespectful, where they cross their arms and they turn away from that other person and say, we don't want to
mhm,
play with you. And I
mhm.
don't like that, so we've talked to our girls and explained, this is your friend. Like, imagine you always play with her. Now with that other girl, you turn your back on your friend. You say you don't want to play with
Yeah.
her. That really hurts, and we try to explain it because it has happened a few times. So other kids are like totally yeah, that's fine, or whatever, or there might be a
Mhm.
bit hurt. But two girls, they were hurt by what they did.
Yeah.
It was opportunity for us to explain it
Yeah.
and say, what, I maybe it's your friend does this because she doesn't speak English, or she doesn't like her. I don't know, but even if she doesn't want to play with her, doesn't mean you have to be rude to
Mhm.
your friend, or try maybe including her somehow. Um, anyway, we had that. Then we had a friend over. She's 11. She stayed the night, had a sleepover, and then the three of them went out to play with Gracie. And there was some conflict between this 11-year-old girl and Gracie, the neighbor's girl. They didn't like each other. And then the 11-year-old, who also goes to school, did this kind of manipulative thing, like, I don't like her, I don't want to play with her, and she like
Mhm.
really being dismissive to Gracie. But Lima and Bo didn't go for it, even though
Mhm.
the girl is like cool and older and a friend. And they said, I want to play with Gracie. So I said, okay, like, I'm not going to tell my girls to exclude Gracie or to like force them to play with this 11-year-old girl. So I said, what do you want to do? And this is a complete different story, but I'm going to add it. I said to her, it's okay, no, I can spend time with you. What do you want to do? I don't know. I said, what do you enjoy doing? Mm, I don't know. But what do you do at school? Something, is there something at school that you enjoy doing? No. And after school, what do you like doing? Nothing. Like, and I was like, oh my God, she goes to
Yeah.
school all day, then there's, screen. And she said that I go to school and then I do homework and then it's time to go to bed. And I know she's on her phone as well. So I can see that being busy, she's not busy with something, she's being busy at school. She has forgotten what she likes to do. And I knew she plays volleyball, so I said, I need to buy a new volleyball. Shall we drive to Decathlon? And she's okay, let's do it. So we drove there and we talked a little bit about it. And she went to a Montessori primary school, and now she's in this other school, and she can really see that how she used to play at the Montessori
Yeah.
school, she would learn, and now she's just like, oh, this is so boring and I don't understand this and I don't like this and I'm not learning anything. She could really see that. Anyway, so this was a good thing for my girls to
Yeah.
kind of put their foot down and say, no, even though you don't like my friend, I'm going to play with her. And this 11-year-old wasn't hurt. She wasn't crying or anything. And I think I did the right decision by spending time with her. And um, yeah, it was just seeing that they had been influenced by a friend, like this older friend, and excluding other friends. And now this time they had done what they wanted to do. They didn't let themselves get
Mhm.
influenced. They didn't exclude their friend. And yeah, I could just see, because I haven't, except for a little bit of um, explaining things and
Mhm.
mediating a tiny bit, I let them make the decisions.
Mhm.
And I don't think that happens so much at school. At school is so much, or even, when parents get highly involved,
Mhm.
they sit down, either they punish or they do a big lecture, or they say, what if I do this to you? And they actually do it
Yeah.
to their children. They say, how does this feel?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think in school is a lot like rule, 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 and you
Yeah.
cannot bully, you cannot exclude, you cannot that, you have to share, you have to, but you cannot cooperate, and you cannot. It is must be so confusing, but it just
Yeah.
means that because it's so confusing, the children just have to listen at every
Yeah.
moment. What am I supposed to do now? It's like they stop thinking for themselves, and
Yeah.
we've been working on this, Lena. We've been working on this presentation, and this is part of this. Children stop thinking for themselves
Mhm.
when they're at school, because everything is do this, do that, stop doing that, do it like this, now
Yes.
do that. And
You're not allowed to do this. Yes.
yeah,
It's like constantly given instruction, but I think they get exhausted. I think they're just like, okay, just let me out. I want to go to my iPad or I feel bad, but it's very true. Like I see sometimes like, and right after school, some kids like immediately, like in the car, they're just like iPad because they just need to zone out. This was one of the things that we had to learn. So when we got sick a few weeks ago, the whole family was sick. And so we kind of let screen time go. We kind of were like, okay, you're sick. It's fine. You're home all day. And that was a nightmare. Like it was something that I obviously didn't like, but it was kind of a coping way to cope. And I will never do that again because I've learned the hard way now. And we're back to 1 hour limited. That's it. Like that at the end of the day, because it really changes their behavior. Their attitude is absolutely ridiculous. Like my son, it's like he turns into a different person. You can't talk, you can't talk to him. Very sassy, very like a lot of attitude. And it's like, he's not like that. So it's, and so now he's just playing all day from the morning. And it's like, it was hard in the beginning, the first day, but he's not even asking for it anymore. And that's what's funny because I'm like, even now he wants to put like the projector on, not even like a screen. Like he wants to put the projector, have like a cinema style experience. And I love that because it's like, that's way better because we can do it all together instead of like, you're just clicking and scrolling or something. So screen is important. I think you have to, your own kids, like you have to test out if it works and how long and their age and how much they can handle. But I'm very much like my son gets very overstimulated. He's very sensitive. So it's like if it's an emotional movie, it's not going to work. So it's like it has to be something low. I always look up like these 90s like cartoons and things like
Yeah.
that. And but he has a mind of his own, so he wants whatever I don't recommend. So for that 1 hour, I'm willing to just it's fine. It's
Yeah.
1 hour. But yeah.
Yeah, we have exactly the same. We've done, it's been like for years. We tried so
Yeah.
many different things, went more and less and more and less. And all these years, I can really say what you say. It changes their behavior, does something to their brain, and it's just not good for them or for us. And when you said, it was hard in the beginning, the first day, like one day it's hard, but if you don't have
Yeah.
it every day, you have struggle with it.
Yeah,
It's just so much
exactly.
easier to just
Exactly.
enforce it once. And we're doing now only Fridays. They get to watch like 2 hours or like
Yeah.
to be on the iPad. And
Yeah.
then on Sundays, when they wake up, they can watch something and play something. But we've also cleared out. There must have been like 50, 60 games on the iPad. So now
Oh
there
yeah.
will be three. And and I also must say that I always was a fan of like equality and fairness. But what one child can handle, the other
Yes.
one can't. Like with Lima,
Yes.
I see what she chooses to watch and play, and even on YouTube, it is so different to what Bo chooses. And like just seeing Bo on an
Mhm.
iPhone on in front of her, binge watching something on YouTube is just, it hurts
Mm.
my eyes and my brain and my heart. So I said no more YouTube for Bo, and I explained why.
Yeah.
Like I see Lima, you can handle this,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you do have a limited time. If I didn't give you limits, you would watch so much more. So the limit is appropriate,
Mhm.
but I don't have to check on what you watch. And she goes from one and to another and a game.
Mhm.
Um, and she's watches things that are really interesting and she can learn from, and then how to do the splits and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And she's trying to get into the
Yeah.
split, and with Bo not. So I explained why
Okay.
that Bo cannot go on YouTube, or maybe I have to say stop now. But then with Lima, for example, and well, with food, um, Lima sometimes starts to cough, and like she has a bloated belly,
Mhm.
and Bo not at all. She
Mm.
is like, she only eats what her body tells her she
Yeah.
needs. So she picks on this, and I always let her choose. And she eats, fruit and meat and cheese and
Mhm.
yogurt. She loves chocolate as well, and that's what I
Mhm.
limit. But other than that, Bo is really just, she has no problems
Yes.
physically
Yeah.
with food.
Yeah.
Lima is different. So I say, okay, with Lima, with you, we have to try out something else now.
Yeah.
Like, less this or a bit more. And but it's important. I said to her that you listen to your body. Like Bo, she can eat all through the day. With Lima, let's try just 3 meals. Like give
Yeah.
your digestive system a rest. And I'm not saying you have to do this, but it's like we need to try this now
Yeah.
because the bloating and this cough that comes up after she eats something or she gets
Mhm.
bright red, that is just trying out this and that. So everybody's different, and I
Everybody.
can,
Yeah.
just because I give Lima 3 meals a day now doesn't mean I have to do the same for Bo, because it wouldn't be fair. No, Bo is perfectly fine and not
Yeah. Yeah.
around with the screens.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's the
getting
same.
to know your children.
Yeah. And you really need to be aware of that. Like you said, like that's part of why I don't like to delegate to other people because I need to be like the part of my job is just to be aware of what's going on. And like the 5-year-old can communicate, but the 1-year-old cannot communicate. And so it's like I have to just be in tune with what's going on. So yeah, my 5-year-old, he ate at 6 months old, no problems. He ate everything. He was such a like an easy kid with food. And my my son now, he just absolutely like he I think just started to eat like a month ago, like biscuits. Like that's about it. Like it's not something that I would give to a kid, but at the same time, or a cracker or something.
Mhm.
But this is how he chose to learn to
Yeah.
eat. He doesn't like squishy foods. He doesn't like pureed food. He wants to hold it, and like it's a choking hazard. It really scares me, but I'm like, we're just gonna reach this point. You've told me that you're not ready until now, and this is what you want. So that's I respect that, but it's difficult because he's 1 year old and he hasn't eaten. So it's like all the grandmas are like, okay, but try this, try this, try this, try this. And I'm like, I don't like cereal. I don't want to give him this mix for the babies. I want to make it myself. I want to eat. Also, I want him to eat what we're eating because that's what he's going to end up eating.
Mhm.
So if I end up making something for him now, that's what he's going to be eating. It's like he needs to be immersed in the family now because
Yeah.
it's part of that because then he's going to grow up, he's going to expect something different. And that's not what I do. That's not how we work. We're not going to make meals for each kid. But I mean, if it depends, but like I want to try this, but if it doesn't work, it might have to. I might have to, honestly. That was very interesting. I didn't realize that I was going against what I believe in. But yeah, it's I want to try that and see how it goes. But
Mhm.
it's been he's been more interested in eating our food than baby food. So he will eat meat. He will eat like pieces of steak fat. He loves it. But I
Mhm.
didn't know that. If I like, from day one, I would have just been. But he's very picky as well. So it what you do for one kid is not going to work for the other kid, and then eventually they're going to get it because it's a phase. Everything with kids is a phase, and then it ends, and then you completely forget that it ever happened, and that's what's beautiful because it's like sleeping through the night, not feeding, all that. It's like it just goes away in a second, and then you're like, oh, but I miss that. We used to bond at night, and then but yeah, it's a phase. It's always a phase.
Yeah. And what you say, like it's this mix um of, looking at the individual, but how this individual fits into the community. And I
Yeah.
don't mean it fitting like they have to mold themselves or we have to mold them, but
Yeah.
that we don't live apart from one another. You are a family, and there is the bigger family and the community. So there's this way of this balance of what
Yes.
are my needs, what are my wants, what are my kids' needs and wants, and how do we do this together? Like, yeah, as you say, you're not going to cook for your younger child, for three people this and the other one
Yeah.
something else for the next 18 years or
Yeah.
something. It is really how can we fit this into our whole as a family.
Yeah. And I noticed once you set the precedent like that with especially the older kids, they're like, okay, but I don't eat this. I'm not going to do that. I you never did this before. So it's like they're very aware, and my kid is very intelligent in that sense, and I always cannot never just constantly negotiating about everything, bedtime, dressing up, going out, like every single thing. We are constantly negotiating. And it's funny because like you want your kids to be free and skeptical of authority, and then it just bites you because you have to deal with it every single day.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
What I
difficult.
also have sometimes a challenge with is this, if they ask you for something like a favor, can you do this for me? Can you bring me apple juice? Can you do this? Can I have that? Can I that? Is this balance of, yeah, sure, or do it yourself, or maybe later, because I notice when I try to
Mhm.
like say no because I want them to do it for themselves from now in the future, it bites me in the
Yeah.
back, because then if I ask for something, they said you do it yourself.
Yes, yes,
If I
yes.
do things for them, they are very like, yeah, sure, mommy, here. And I said, can you grab me that thing? She says, yes, here. But once I start, but it's when I do it consciously, when I say, no, I'm not going to do this for you anymore. Like, you're old enough, or you
Yeah.
can do it, then do it. Then is when they act exactly the same. They're
Yeah.
very happy. and sweet and kind. And then when I say, okay, now I'm just eating here now. I don't want to get up for the 10th time now to get you some apple
Yes.
juice. Grab a chair, you
Figure it
like
out.
find a way. I always say find a way. And they usually do. But it's this, what does work almost every time is when I say you can either do it yourself or like try yourself or
Yeah.
wait until I'm done with this. Because then
Yes.
I'm really not saying no or do it yourself. I'm just giving these two options: wait for me or do it yourself. And they usually do it themselves.
Yeah, that's what I do also. I'm always like, oh, I'm busy right now. Just give me a minute. And then if, but also my kid sometimes uses that against me. He's like, no, but I need it now. And then it turns into a tantrum, but I'm like, okay, but I cannot. Sorry, I need a minute. You have to give them that pause because they know it's like a message you're sending them, like you're parenting now, and they're like, no, I need you to do what I want you to do all the time. So yeah, I think they're very aware. Kids know exactly when you're even in a bad mood or in a good mood. They know when you're nervous or, it's like they sense it. So when you're sending them a message, it's like the tone matters, the way that you're saying it. Sometimes you don't have to say it like you said. It's just like, wait, just a minute. I'm a very inefficient mom. Like if you're gonna ask me something, it might happen in an hour. I have a baby. Like I'm not gonna always, and that works because if you're just constantly like fighting, it's just going to be difficult to
Yeah.
deal with, and you have to just ignore sometimes.
Yeah. And it's
Really.
also like we are in an age where you can have everything instantly or most of the things
Yes.
instantly. And that's part of the problem
Yes.
because they want consumers, they want you to look at the ads and buy it, they want you to need what they are selling to you. Same with YouTube and social media
Yes.
and the videos and cinema, everything is like in one click and you have it. um, just having to wait, being able to wait, being
Yeah.
patient, and I said, okay, in 5 minutes or in 1 week or whenever it is, or because I don't buy them anything anymore unless they
Hmm.
need it. If they
Hmm.
want something that they don't need, then they can buy it with their pocket money. So sometimes they have to wait. And then Bo, she found this little book that Lima had. She said, I want one like this. And I said, okay, let's go. No, next time we were in the shop, I said, oh, here's the shop where Lima bought her book. And she said, okay, I want it. She said, okay, you give me the money back at home. So I bought it for her. We went home and she had 2 euros and it had cost 10 euros. I said, okay, then the next two, because she's four, she gets 4 euros. So I said, the next two times you're not going to get pocket money. So you pay back what
Yeah.
for this book. So yeah, now she owes me another 4 euros. The next time there's pocket money, only Lima gets the pocket money. And then
Yeah.
later
It's
she
a
gets.
very hard lesson to learn. It's very hard, but I think it's better that they learn the hard lessons early because then it's making sense of the world instead of just like going into the world and then it's like, oh, this is really hard. Like, yeah, you need to figure out what you want to spend your money on.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't hard because like you can make it hard. You can make, see,
Yeah.
now you have no money left. Now you owe me, you're in debt. Or so it's like really just, okay, then the next two Sundays you don't gonna get 4 euros. And she's okay. Like, and that's it. Don't
Yeah.
make a big deal out of it. That's one of my
Yeah. Yeah.
visit, not mantra, but like don't make a big deal out of it, because if you make a big deal out of it, it could be anything. Some people make a big deal out of dropping something out of their pocket. And but the it's really I like this sentence, like, is it like this question, is it an emergency? Like, do I need to freak
Mhm.
out about this now, or do we just deal with it? And
Yeah.
yeah, just don't make a big deal out of it. It's not
Yeah.
an emergency. So that's something I would like them to carry within them for the future, because it makes life so much easier. Like every day things will happen that
Yes.
accidents, things you don't like, but the more you can just accept them and go on with life, or just look for the solution, the easier your life becomes,
Yeah.
instead of freaking out over every single shit that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it stresses you out and then you're just taking the stress every day and it just I don't
Yeah,
think it makes
accumulates.
you, healthier as well.
Yeah,
It's like very stressful. Yeah.
definitely. So, and what are your, yeah, let's talk about your plans maybe for the future. I mean, you said, we need to figure out
Mhm.
how, but if you could do 6 months here, 6 months in Saudi
Yes.
Arabia, what would that look like for you? With
I
the
think,
guys and everything.
yeah, we enjoyed the winter here more because of the extreme temperatures. A lot of people don't travel during the winter because it's nice. It's a nice change, and it can get pretty cold. And so probably gonna stay here in the winter, and then like the rest of the year, maybe go to Madeira, maybe go to somewhere else. We really enjoyed Madeira as a place, as a family. I think it's very different. In general, I'm very biased. I've been to Portugal with my son as our first trip, and I loved it. I think it's a very family friendly place in
Mhm.
comparison to some countries in Europe. I think it's very family friendly. There's kids everywhere, which is also another thing that I love. And it's like, it's just a nice weather. There's the mountains. I mean, we went to that location in the mountains and it was a beautiful hike. And it's just like you don't get access to things like that. So I think that would be probably, I'm trying to think which months. I'm not really sure. We don't really have we're not like, we don't think about the future too much. And
Mhm.
then once it's the right time, we end up going. Like it was the same with Bitcoin Atlantis. It was not really like, we knew we wanted to go, but we didn't really plan it out that long ahead. And I know a lot of people don't live like this, but this is how me and Mohammed live, and we lived for a long time. It's like on a whim we travel and then we live in another place. And then and so I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's going to be like 666 here but it's probably going to be 3 months here, 3 months there, something like that. It makes
Okay.
more sense to me. But also that's a lot of traveling. So I don't know. I really have never done it before. So that's
Mhm.
kind of what I'm thinking. I'm really excited to go back to Madeira though. I wish they were doing Bitcoin Atlantis, but that's okay. We're still coming.
Yeah, I think they want to do it every year. So in March.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there.
Yep.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. Yeah, definitely be here. I mean, we are planning to spend, most of the year here, but I'm definitely
Yes.
gonna make sure we'll be here when you guys are over.
Yeah, yeah. We will let you know. Yeah, I think it's especially now when things are kind of place to be is kind of figured out, and we have a place, and I think that's going to be just amazing because then it's like you can actually stay for a long extended period of time. With kids, it's not easy to just go and rent an apartment and stay. So yeah, and then you have the community as well, which I have to say for all the viewers, I've met some of the members and they are amazing. They're very friendly. The families are great. The kids are great. I have absolutely no complaints. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. So yes,
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good to know, that the right people are coming together because
yeah,
really, yeah, living in a neighborhood, not in one house altogether, but
yeah,
still, it's calming to know that the people that are part of this are really open-minded and cool and freedom-oriented.
yes. Yeah, it's very important. And then we have a lot about, in common with unschooling and kids. So our kids are going to probably know each other better than we're going to, but it's just how kids are. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, that's like the only really the must for me that they're all unschooled is because the reason why I started this, the why I wanted this neighborhood was that my children will always have kids to play with. It's
Mhm.
not that I need this a school or I need
Yeah.
everybody to eat meat. No, not at all. It's really just as long as 99% of the people who live there don't
Mhm.
send their kids to school, we're good. My kids have friends and I'll also have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, so organic. It's like you're going to hang out with people, with your kids. And I think we got a little bit of that during the conference where it's like all these, the kids' corner, you
Mhm.
know, you're sitting with someone who's like feeding her baby. And then she's like, okay, can you watch him? I'm going to go to the bathroom for a minute. And you just immediately have that community. And there's like, and that was amazing because I've been to conferences without families. So that kind of gave me a completely different experience where it's like, wow, like we can just hang out all day with kids, like amazing. Not a lot of my friends have kids, so I feel like that's why I don't have that experience as much. And then most of them work and they go to school, so
Yeah.
they're not free during the day. They're not like that was another thing is like when we were in Madeira, it's like we made plans and everybody's free. It's
Mhm.
like because they don't do a typical 9 to 5. So like during dinner, people are free. Like it's amazing. Whereas, yeah, Mohammed is still like has a full-time job. So that's also part of the question of when is he gonna move to something more remote. And but it's a work in progress. And I think next year is the year. And I'm excited for that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, when things need time. You can't just
Yeah.
implement everything and change everything. Things need their time, and everything will happen at the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Okay, I think we've had a lovely chat. I had a really nice chat with you,
Yeah.
and I thank you for being here, Lina. I hope
Thank you so
everybody
much
else
for having
enjoyed
me.
it. And yeah, I'll see you next time on our marketing calls.
Yeah.
And the rest of you, I'll be emailing more often from now on. I'm planning to send out at least one email a week. Yeah, you've seen. Started podcasting again, which I really enjoy. I'm going to introduce more people who are part of a place to be and some other people we can learn from, some unschoolers and some unschooling experts. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more of this because Place to Be is moving forward. And if you have any questions, just either send me an email to info@aplacetobe.me or just sign up for the newsletter if you haven't yet at www.aplacetobe.me. And I'll see you around. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye, Lina, and bye, everybody.
Bye.